Alright, so I read a spoiler that AJ Styles is going to be involved in a tag team match for the main event on Impact Wrestling. And here I'm thinking that really takes away his lone wolf character. But man, was I ever wrong about that. Hey, what's up and how's it going everyone? Well, I'm so glad that you have took your time to spend with me right here today on the MRB Wrestling Review Show. I am your co-host Mike Big Rock Wilson, and last night was TNA Impact Wrestling. And the show kicked off with a backstage segment. You see Bully Ray and Mr. Anderson, and there's little by little, bit by bit, they're gonna do something for these two guys, probably going into Battle for Glory. Who knows if Anderson might win the BFG series. They have these little seeds planted where it could just potentially boil over with these two guys. And they're using Tito Ortiz right in the middle of it. So I like those little things like that. We're going to see eventually the split of aces and eights. And what better way to plant seeds than to have something going on with the president and vice president of the club. Makes sense. And really, the in-ring action kicked off last night when Bobby Roode came out with Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian. And Bobby Roode mentioned that they wanted to add a fourth member to their group. And he decided to ask Austin Aries. He wanted Austin Aries to, join the three pairing of people. And with that being said, we're eventually going to see this answer, and it's going to be, pretty well done, I hope. And with that being said, what I like was that before Austin Aries came out, Bobby Roode was interrupted by, of all people, James Storm, which we all know that he was a former tag team partner of Bobby Roode's. And there's this whole thing about trust, and you can't trust Bobby Roode, he's a heel. And this is all setting up to be a, some sort of classic either turn or a classic someone of joining of a group. Something along those lines. So with all that being said, I like that, the little things. All these guys wore jeans, and eventually there was a tag team match. It was Storm and Gunner versus Bobby Roode and Kaz. And just the little things I like, all these guys were wearing jeans in this tag team match. And I'm surprised it wasn't a street fight, considering this is a show called Hardcore Justice. And the only thing I kind of, was nitpicky on was that this episode just felt like an episode of TNA and not a free pay-per-view such as Hardcore Justice. But with that being said, they did pick it up with a fatal four-way match. It was a street fight, and the winner gets 20 points in the Battle for Glory series. It was Christopher Daniels, Jay Bradley, Joseph Park, and Hernandez. And, of course, Bobby Roode and Frankie Kazarian came out and were the deciding factor. But not quite, because if Daniels won that match, he would go into first place. So I like that, they're keeping Bobby Roode in the point system higher than the other two guys. And with that being said, Joseph Park got the victory. And earlier on in the match, we see, Austin Aries come out, and you think he's going to join, these guys. We see him come in and attack someone, and then he claps his hands to Bobby Roode, claps his hands to Kaz, and when he turns around, there's Daniels in the ring. He nails him with a brainbuster, and he just runs up the ramp. The other two guys are going after him. Classic. I mean, you're like, wait for it, and then it happens. I like those little things like that, and the way that was done was pretty good. It was also pretty entertaining, to say the least. Also last night, Manic and another title match went one-on-one with Sanjay Dutt. And we see now that Hulk Hogan is now finally listening to the TNA fans. The higher ups are finally listening, and they went down to the original plan, one-on-one matches. It was not triple threat for a good few months. Now it's finally, they got to, not have triple threat matches every single time, and now they're going to do that one-on-one matches. But they can always mix it up again anyway. They could have four-way matches, battle royals, the odd occasional triple threat, and one-on-one matches. So I like that. I like that they went back to these one-on-one X Division Championship matches. And with that being said, this was a good old-school classic X Division match, to say the least. Manic goes over Sanjay Dutt, and I'm surprised that they done that because, considering Sanjay Dutt is someone who never held the X Division Championship, and I think him coming back, being rebooted, really should help not just the X Division, but him as well, to go for the X Division Championship. Also last night, Bully Ray and Tito Ortiz came out to the ring, and he revealed his relationship with Brooke. And you see Brooke Hogan's music hit in her video, but then it was Tessmacher that comes out, and I like those little things. Bully Ray mentioned he pulled the wall on people when he was president, when he revealed he was president of Aces and Eights, and again with Tito Ortiz, and now with Brooke Tessmacher. The only thing that came off a little weird was that, the audience's reaction was a little delayed. I guess it's because, they kind of didn't expect, that to happen. And with that being said, it was a little bit delayed, but they got the reaction afterwards. And I really enjoyed the little things when Bully Ray said there's only one thing left to do. You see the ring on his finger. Brooke Tessmacher takes it off with her mouth and spits it out. And it was just one of those things where you go, wow, that was cool, trashy, neat. And that kiss they were pulling off in the ring, weird, but it was, really well done. Everything was well done, in that segment with Bully Ray and Tito Ortiz and Brooke Tessmacher. And what I really like, is what Bully Ray mentioned, from his match, last week in the steel cage with Chris Sabin. He said that Sabin did not beat me, I beat myself. It was pretty much it, yeah. It was like nothing ever happened because Chris Sabin really was the transitional / paper champion, and he just had to lose that title because it wouldn't make sense for Sabin to go in at Bound for Glory as the champ, because it's just one of those things where you go, I don't know if that's the right way to go, considering the biggest event of the year is Bound for Glory, and Sabin is not really a top face in the company, because Bully Ray is a top heel in the company. So with that being said, Bully Ray is the right person to go into Bound for Glory as the champ, and I hope that does happen at Bound for Glory. And with all that being said, Tito Ortiz also cut a little promo regarding his upcoming match against Rampage Jackson, and I wasn't on board with it, in the beginning when Tito Ortiz came in, but now I'm liking this thing now that they're using TNA to build up this match, because the people that watch MMA may not watch TNA. So with that being said, I like that they're using another program to hype up an MMA match between Tito Ortiz and Rampage Jackson. And with all that being said, Bully Ray knows how to generate all the heat. He's an excellent talker, good on the mic. Tito Ortiz as well. Brooke Tessmacher didn't need to. All she had to do was come out and look trashy as possible, and everything just worked in that segment. Also last night, Gail Kim went one-on-one with ODB, where Gail Kim got the victory, and the only thing I have an issue with is that what is this? There's a question of where this is leading to with the Knockouts division. I feel like that the Knockouts division is not as great as it was years ago in TNA, when you had all these knockouts in TNA, and it's kind of going downhill. And the only thing that I'm worried about is that what's the end game for Bound for Glory within the Knockouts division. I think that we should see more of Taryn Terrell and Velvet Sky, and why not have a rivalry between the two of them, or a tag team involving the champ, and you have ODB and Gail Kim lingering as well for the title. And I think, with the release of Tara, really took a blow in the Knockouts division on TNA. So with all that being said, even though the Knockouts division is going downhill on the show, I still like that they're using Gail Kim very well, because Gail Kim is a tremendous knockout in the division. Not only that, she's a tremendous wrestler as well. And I think that going into Bound for Glory and the Knockouts Championship, that they should involve Gail Kim and ODB and the others that I mentioned. So that's the only issue I have, is that the Knockouts division wasn't as good as it used to be. But I hope that they do pick it up and involve the Knockouts champ Mickie James somehow within the next few weeks, and have Mickie James invested in a rivalry for the fans to get behind, also going into the next few weeks to end that Bound for Glory. Also last night, I mentioned earlier that, Chris Sabin lost the championship, and so I like that, Chris Sabin got some words in. Even though he wasn't on the show, he got some words in backstage. He just made a brief statement of what happened last week, and I'll just leave it at that. You can watch it, see what he has to say, and, at least, what I like about TNA is that, that they pick up where they leave off, and have Chris Sabin just, make a brief statement regarding the steel cage match with Bully Ray for the world title. And the main event was Aces and Eights versus the Main Event Mafia. And the loser of this match, whoever gets pinned in this match, has to leave TNA. What I really enjoyed about this match, we see Bully Ray and Brooke Tessmacher and Tito Ortiz, watching the match from the stage, and we see Aces and Eights come out, the Main Event Mafia come out. We see the promos that Anderson and Sting cut before the match. It was pretty good, nice sight to get the crowd going, and AJ Styles came out. His music hit, Evil Ways. We see him looking over to Bully Ray. He walks up to the ramp. He stops. The music stops. You hear the fans chanting AJ. And then we hear Get Ready to Fly. Takes off the hood. Does this whole thing. Oh man, that moment was freaking awesome. If you only just watch it. And the way that the announcers hyped that up, the old AJ Styles is back, Get Ready to Fly, doing that whole phenomenal thing. Oh man, that was absolutely bone-chilling in places where I don't have places. Absolutely amazing. Those little things like that really set the tone. Absolutely amazing. And I was going into this match thinking, AJ Styles. I got carried away there. I said the wrong name. I was a little skeptic at first because, AJ Styles, we know he's the lone wolf, and this is not going to work. But man, was I ever wrong. old AJ Styles is back, the original AJ Styles. That was absolutely amazing. That huge pop from the crowd really made it work. Absolutely loved it. With that being said, he really put the shine in that match. Made it 5-on-5. What happened at the end? Devon was the one that got pinned. Devon is now leaving TNA, and I like this because, this can either go either way. This can, help build a new sergeant at arms for the Aces and Eights. I could see Knox stepping up for that role, and in the same time, this could be a plot point to the overall write-off story for the Aces and Eights, because I know they will end eventually, and I think at Bound for Glory it will end. And this is just one of those plot points where you go, wow, that was good. That was really, really good. And I think on the main event last night, didn't fall flat at all. That was absolutely amazing. Good, solid ending. The entire show was great. And with that being said, TNA, even though you have a lot of fans, that don't like TNA, I'm still a true hardcore fan of TNA, and I hope that something happens with the overall organization of Total Nonstop Action and this whole thing with Hulk Hogan as the general manager. I understand that, Hulk Hogan's contract may be up soon, and I think that could be a good thing in the overall perspective for Impact Wrestling, because Impact Wrestling needs to go in a direction where it should already be right now. And with all that being said, hopefully that does happen. That was my review of TNA Impact Wrestling Hardcore Justice. For the MRB Wrestling Review Show, I am Mike McRock Wilson. Get plenty of rest, and always do your best.